What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Juju the Gamer here, and I know it's been a while since y'all seen me. Life has gotten away. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm trying to fix my mic. I'm sorry if y'all hearing that in the background. Life has gotten away, but it has been some crazy stuff these last couple of weeks. I've been tuned into the podcast, into various different podcasts, so I haven't been missing anything. Jimbo and Nick Saban was going at it in a press conference. Oh my God. Greg Sankey and the Pac-12 commissioner going to Congress about nil. Congress telling the NCAA president, who's retiring next year, to basically F off, because they don't like him at all, because he went up there for nil help. Lane Kiffin basically saying this is now free agency, and if it don't matter how good of a coach you are, if you don't got a GM or if you don't got the paper to pay these kids what they're worth, you asked out. Oh my God, it's been a lot of crazy stuff, and it's June. Wow, no, by the time y'all see this, it's May 31st. So we're reaching June, people. June. We are a couple of Saturdays away from that greatness of college football coming back, and I'm hyped. I'm hyped to see Ohio State finally getting a night game, a big night game for once, and not being subjected to Fox at noon. Yeah. Welcome to my world, Bama and Texas fans. Cause it's rough. It's rough having your team play at noon every Saturday because they bring home the big ratings. But that's not what I want to talk about today. I do have the stuff pulled up, so we're gonna hit my intro. We're gonna go right into what I'm gonna talk about today, because SEC Media Days started today, and Greg Sankey was kind of saying something interesting that we have to talk about. Hit my intro. Let's get it. Okay. So let's bring on the first one. Let me get this pulled up right quick. So LSU coach Brian Kelly said the SEC commissioner Greg Sankey talked about the possibility of SEC only playoff when the current contract ends in 2025. He left it open to when he gets to June, when they begin some conversation with the other conference commissioners. How do I feel about this? Now, I'm conflicted about this because I believe Greg Sankey is misusing his influence. Let me stop. But no, I'm actually conflicted about this. I see both sides of it, because college football has always been a regional sport. Certain regions have their run, and right now it's been the South for about 20 years now, unless you're Ohio State or USC. That's about it. And while I get that there might be an audience for that, especially in the South, the SEC, parts of the ACC would probably want to watch that, or watch their rival teams fall into despair. Which is why I watch Michigan sometimes, because I want to laugh. But my thing is, if they're trying to do an SEC only playoff, right? And this is just me speaking as a casual college football fan. The first maybe 1 or 2 years of that will probably have good ratings, will probably be good. It's after that I have an issue with. So after the first year, I truly believe that it won't be as hype. Because just think about this. Just think about this. In basketball, they do this, okay? This is not new. So in basketball, they have the regular conference season along with the conference tournament. And then whoever wins the tournament gets an automatic bid into the playoffs. That's basketball. It's, you know, it's wear and tear on these athletes' bodies, but not as much as football. That's my issue. Unless they're going to be adding more games that the kids have to play through and potentially take finals through, how is this going to work? Because you got to have the conference, you know, the conference schedule to allow the seeding for this, you know, conference only tournament. And then you got to play the actual playoff tournament. And then if you want to crown a champion at the end of all that, whoever comes out of the specific conference, you know, tournament, the champion, you know, the SEC champ, the Big 10 champ, the Big 12 champ, Pac-12 champ, and the ACC champ, whoever comes out of these specific playoff-only tournaments, are they just going to go back to the older days when they just voted on a poll? And that would who got the, and then that's who got the national championship title? Because that's how we got multiple teams winning the title per year. Like that's happened. That's happened. So I'm just wary of that because it might be hype for the first 2 years, but how much wear and tear are we going to be putting on these college athletes that might have, you know, aspirations further of trying to get into the league and trying to preserve their body? Another thing is, if the SEC is only just doing this and the rest of the conference is saying, no, that's dumb, why would we do this? Who's going to watch that after the first couple of years? After like the first 2 years? Just a genuine question, because most of the major TV markets, that's not Atlanta, as they currently constructed are in the Big 10 and the Pac-12. And you know, when Texas eventually comes in, then you have like Houston, Dallas, and all that area, which they might already have because of A&M. But who's going to really watch those playoffs? You know, after the first couple of years, who's going to watch that playoffs outside of that region? If it's just, you know what I'm saying? If it's just the SEC doing that. If it's just the SEC only doing their playoff and then they send their winner to a larger playoff. Because that begs the question, because if they're not going to have another playoff at the end, nationally, why should the other conferences, why should their fan bases care about the SEC doing that? Sure, they might only watch, you know, Alabama or somebody gets upset, or, you know, Georgia gets upset. But outside of Bama, Georgia, possibly LSU, and Florida for that matter, who's going to care outside of the South, outside of the SEC footprint about those playoffs? So that's one thing that I found was interesting that kind of, you know, didn't really make sense to me, of them having the SEC only playoff. But this is the second one I wanted to bring up. So the SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, you know, while he did say that, he did mention that the SEC only playoff was just a bit far-fetched. You know, it's kind of, you know, really out there. That was just a feeler. But this is the one he, you know, he kind of said he has more, you know, concrete ground on. And he says, you know, the SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey said an 18 college football playoff without automatic qualifiers is something we would consider. Now, that was the whole reason the 12-team, you know, the 12-team college football playoff expansion got so much love, because it didn't have automatic qualifiers that the SEC was looking for, and it gave the other conferences a chance to have more than one team. Now, for only going to 8, If we're only going to 8 and you taking all the Power 5 without automatic qualifiers, you mean to tell me that ESPN won't put at least 4 to 5 SEC teams in there when everybody knows there's not really 4 to 5 great SEC teams? When any given year it's probably about 2 or 3. You know, you got Bama, you got Georgia. Then there's one other person, which is normally LSU. You know, sometimes Auburn, Florida. It's really only 3. So my question with that is, why would the Big Ten, the ACC, why would the Big Ten, especially the ACC and especially the Pac-12, along with the Big 12, agree to an 18 playoff without automatic qualifiers? So, because my thinking is, if it's an automatic qualifier, if I win my conference, I'm in. Bar none, I'm in. What I'm afraid of is happening is a team that comes out of nowhere, let's say in the Big 12, like Baylor did this year, they win their conference and they still get a lower seed. Instead of being like the 3 or the 4th or the 5th seed, you know, they get a lower seed over somebody that didn't win their conference. So I feel like without automatic qualifiers, diminishing the conference championship game. Because to me, if you win your conference, you should be in, like, regardless. That should be locked. If I'm going to an 18 playoff, I want automatic qualifiers. Because playing these games week in and week out and winning those games should be rewarded if you win your conference championship game. That should be rewarded. That should have a stamp that, you know what, you won your conference championship game, you get an automatic bid, you get a home game for the playoff. You know, you might face this group of 5 team or one of these other teams at large that had a great season, but, you know, they lost to an eventual champion that got locked in. So it's, I don't know how I feel about that, but I understand his position. His position is to benefit the SEC in any way possible, and to get more SEC teams in is without automatic qualifiers. Let's be real. That's the best way to get more than 2 teams in, especially when they go to 16 when Texas and Oklahoma come in. Because that was one of the draws to get them in. You know, that was one of the SEC selling points to Texas and Oklahoma, was more money and probably more access to getting into the playoffs if they go to a harder schedule. But like I said, I'm not sure if the other conferences will agree with that. And they might say, no, screw you. We've already talked about an 18 playoffs, and we all wanted, you know, an 18, you know, we all wanted 8 teams, and we wanted automatic qualifiers, and y'all said no. Because here's the thing, and I just thought about this. If you go to an 18 playoff with automatic qualifiers, that lessens the gap for, you know, my thing is, if they go to an 18 with automatic qualifiers, it has to be the 5 conference champions for the Power 5, the best group of 5 team, and 2 at-larges. And we all know one of those at-larges at some point is going to be the school I eternally will forever call fraudulent in terms of college football, Notre Dame. We all know Notre Dame is going to get into playoffs, even if they have automatic qualifiers. They're going to get into playoffs. Now, they might not get a home game, but they're going to get into the playoffs. So that only leaves like one other team for the SEC. And, you know, Greg Sankey's position is just simple. He wants as many SEC teams as possible. And 18 without automatic qualifiers might bump Notre Dame, might bump, let's see, it might bump Boise or somebody. You know, somebody that was unexpected, got hot, but didn't win their conference championship and had like a 10-2 record, might get bumped out of there. You know, something crazy like what happened to Oklahoma State this past year. So, I don't know. I know he's trying to big up his conference in any way possible. I just don't see the other conferences agreeing with these stipulations or these theories when they go to meet, when Sankey goes to meet the other commissioners. But if you have your thoughts on what the SEC is doing for these media days, what Greg Sankey has planned or, you know, put out there as feelers, let me know. Let me know. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please make sure you leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that bell notification so notified every single time I upload. And if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy college football, please make sure that you share out this video. You know, it only helps this channel grow. I cannot wait until the season starts so I can watch, hopefully, my Ohio State Buckeyes get back into the playoffs and hopefully win a natty this year. But that's it for today, everybody. Make sure you all, once again, leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell notification so notified every single time I upload. And I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.